Now, let's look at animal nutrition. All right. Looking at the animal nutrition, where Jamb says we should specialize on, we should put our focus on, according to the syllabus, animals ingest, digest, absorb, and assimilate food. This is a catabolic process that's breaking down molecules to form energy. For the plants, they bring molecules together, build molecules to form energy. You can see that animals are breaking down, plants are building. All right. So they ingest, that means they take in food, they digest, that's chemicals act on the food, enzymes. They absorb, that's the nutrients from the food is absorbed into the bloodstream or the body system, and assimilate food. Assimilation of food nutrients is the nutrient is now used up by the body tissue, okay, for growth, function, and maintenance. And also it can also extend to storage of the food too, okay. That's post-assimilation. All right. So the classes of food substances include carbohydrate, which is for energy. It produces energy. And carbohydrate also helps with growth. It is not only energy that carbohydrate produces. It also helps with growth. That's development. It helps with, not particularly growth. Let's not say growth. It helps in development. Okay. Secondary development. All right. Okay. Through those energy. All right. Because when carbohydrate gives you energy, you move and, more energy are stored. And also your muscles develop through usage because you have energy to be active, you have energy to move, you have energy to carry out activity. So that's the mechanism at which carbohydrates helps in development. All right, not directly but indirectly. And next we have here under the class of food is protein, and protein is for repair and for growth. So for growth and repair of tissue, it's not only these two that protein is used for. Protein is also the building block of enzymes and hormones in the body. Okay, the building blocks of what? Enzymes and hormones in the body, protein. All right. So the next we have is fat and oil. It provides energy, especially when there is no glucose in the body system. Fat can be converted into what? Into energy, entering the Krebs cycle to form energy. All right. And when fat is converted to form energy, ketone is formed. Okay. Ketone is usually formed during the process of converting fat to glucose. All right. So the next we have here is vitamin. Okay. Vitamin aids metabolism. That's conversion of molecules, okay, to form this. Conversion of this to form this. That's the function of vitamin. Vitamin also help, repair body tissue, okay. It also help in the repair of body tissue. And also, vitamin also help in development, okay. Development of body tissues too, all right. Vitamin is also the building block of so many body tissue, body parts, okay, including the teeth, for example, all right, the teeth and the bones. So vitamin play a key role in those parts. You have mineral salts, which are electrolytes. What's the function of electrolytes? Electrolytes helps in, transmission of impulse in the body. Contraction of your muscle, contraction of muscle, okay? The working of the heart. It is electrolytes that is responsible for it. The movement, your movement, all the neurological activity, the activities of neurons in your body. It is through what? Electrolytes. Then water is the final one. Water is a solvent, okay? It provides the area for reaction. It provides the what? The surface area for reaction. It provides a feed for biochemical processes. Now, let's look at food tests. Okay, very important. If Jamb no set this thing for biology, they will set them for chemistry. The first we have here is starch. And what is the test for starch? It is the iodine test that we just explained when we were testing for starch in a leaf. Where iodine, when you add iodine to the solution in question or the specimen, the solution or the specimen turns blue-black in the presence of starch, but color remains the same in the absence of starch. The next we have here is reducing sugar. And Benedict solution is used, and when the solution appears, the solution in question or the specimen appears brick red, then that shows that what? That protein is present in the solution or the specimen. The next we have here is the Burette test for protein test. Okay, use it to test for protein, the Burette test. And the Burette test, when the specimen or the solution turns purple, just know that protein is present. All right. Then the final one we have here is oil and fat test. We use emulsion test for oil and fat test. You know what emulsion is now? Emulsion is a false solution. It's actually a colloid. It falls in between. It's not a true solution and it's not a false solution. It has dissolved particles that scatters light and it doesn't settle like suspension. All right. Now let's look at the mammalian tooth. Okay. What is the structure of the mammalian tooth? It has an enamel. That is the outermost part of the what? Of the tooth. Okay. It has a neck. Okay. The neck is below the crown. That's where you have the neck. Then you have the roots. Okay. The root is where it uses to attach to the jawbone. Okay. Or the areola. Okay, and in this root, you have structures like cementum. It is this cementum that gums the teeth or that gums the tooth to the jawbone. You have the dentine. The dentine is after the enamel, you are going to see dentine. Enamel is transparent, but dentine is light yellow in color. So after enamel, you are going to see what is called the dentine. All right, you are going to see what is called what? The dentine. And it is this dentine that determines the color of the teeth. Okay, the dentine determines the color of the teeth. That's why when you see some people, their teeth is yellowish, okay, light yellowish. That one don't mean say the person is not dirty person or the person not the brush. It just means that the person's enamel is very transparent and the dentine is the color of the dentine is very thick. It has a thick yellow. So the dentine is reflecting out from the enamel, giving the teeth that light yellow color that you are seeing. So, but some persons, they don't have a transparent enamel. Their enamel is not transparent like that, and their dentine is, the color of the dentine, the yellow is very, very light. So that reflection you are not going to see. So the teeth appear as white. Okay. So you also have the pulp cavity. So all these are what you have in the root. Cementum, dentine, and pulp cavity. All these are found in the root of the teeth or the tooth. While the crown, you have the enamel and the neck. Here, this is my teeth that you are seeing. This part of my teeth that you are seeing now, that you can see. Any part that is visible to you of your teeth is called the crown. Any part, all this part that you can see in my teeth is called the crown. The part that is visible to you is called the crown. So that part that is buried inside the gum is called the roots. That's where you have the cementum, the dentine, the pulp cavity. Though the dentine is distributed all over the teeth, both in this enamel, you have the dentine there too. All right, but that is how it's classified. Okay, crown and roots. Okay, so let's look at the types of teeth in mammal. Okay, you have the incisors, which is these two here, two up, two down. You have the canine, you have one here, you have one here for tearing flesh, making it about 4 canine. Then you have the premolar / the molar, which is for grinding. Okay, molar 3, premolar 2. This is in human. Okay, so incisors is for cutting, to cut your bread, to cut your apple, to cut your mango. Then canine is for tearing, to tear your meat, to tear cloth. You use canine to tear. Then premolars and molars are used for grinding. Where premolar grind reach, molar will grind and finish. So the functions of the tooth related to diet, it is the diet of this animal that determines its type of teeth. Okay, the type of teeth that it's going to have. It is the diet that determines that. All right, if it's going to have a herbivorous teeth or a carnivorous teeth, or if it's going to have an omnivorous teeth. All right. Under the adaptation for nutrition, you have carnivorous, like I said before. You have herbivorous, then you have omnivorous. Carnivorous feeds on flesh, tearing flesh. So since they are flesh eaters, you should know now that they should have well-developed canine. Okay. Then for herbivore, they are plant eaters, only herbs. Then they eat. They feed on plants alone. And their type of teeth, they have flat molar for grinding. That's what they have. They don't have canine. And that place that they're supposed to be canine, there's a space there called diastema. Okay, there's a space in herbivore, such as goats, sheep, and so on and so forth. Then for the omnivore, omnivores have complete set of teeth. Omnivores feed on both plants and animal source. So they have the complete set of teeth because they feed both from plant and animal. All right, so you have incisors, you have canine, you have premolars, you have molar, all the omnivore. All right, so let's look at the dental formula. Jamb says we should master the dental formula of man, sheep, and dog. So if they want set question now from these three, any of these three, they'll for set question for. So the dental formula in man, you have 2/2. What this first 2/2 means is incisors now 2, upper jaw. Okay, upper jaw, incisors. That's the maxilla, incisors. Then down 2/2. Then 1/1 means 1 canine up here, 1 canine down here, upper and lower jaw. Then 2/2 premolar, which is 2 premolar up and 2 premolar down. Okay, then you now do 3/3, which is for molar. 3 molar up, 3 molar down. Since you have 2 this side and you have 2 this side, you are now going to times these numbers by 2 to get the complete teeth. Okay, you are now going to times by 2 to get the complete teeth. So it will now be 8 incisors, 4 canine, 8 premolars, and 12 molars. Therefore, sheep, if you add everything together, you are going to get 32. All right, so the 32 set of teeth. Adult man, 32 set of teeth. All right, so the next we have here is sheep. 0/3, which is incisors. Nothing they up, but 3 they down. That's why their teeth are like this. Okay, then canine, 0 they up, no canine for up, but 1 small canine they down. Okay, then for the premolars, they now have 3 premolars up and 3 premolars down, making it 6, the 2 sides. Then you now have for the molar, you have 3/3 still. This is for dog, 3/3, canine 1/1, very big canine. Then for premolar, you have 4/4. Then for molar, you have 2/3. This premolar is more in dog because it helps them. It's a specialized kind of premolar, okay, and molar. It's called canasia, okay. It helps them to, to grind grind those flesh. Okay, now let's look at the structure of the tooth. Like I explained to you, you can see what I said in the beginning, that this part that is exposed, that you can see, okay, the part visible to you is called the crown. That's from here now na gum. Okay, here na gum, your gum. Then up here that you can see in the teeth is called the crown. Okay, and inside the crown, so what do you have inside the crown? You have enamel, you have dentine. These are what you have inside the crown. Then for the roots, from here down is the root. Though you have parts of the pulp cavity in the crown, you have some parts like this upper part. Now you have it in the crown. All right. Now in the roots, you have something like, you have this part is the gum. Okay, here is the gum. You have something like cement. This cement is what gums these teeth. It cements it to the what? The jawbone. Okay, directly to the jawbone. This one is the bone. Okay, the jawbone. Then you have the nerve inside the pulp cavity. So most portion of the pulp cavity is located in the where? In the what? The roots of the what? Of the teeth. And that's that for the mammalian teeth. This is the what? The teeth of the dog. The dog's teeth. So where do you have your incisors? Look at it. 3 incisors. Look at the big canines. Okay, big canines. Okay, now look at the premolars. Okay, can you see the premolars? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now look at the molar. Okay, you have 2/3. So you have 2/3 molar. So you have this specialized premolar that makes up the part of the premolar. This specialized premolar is called the canasials, used for what? For grinding flesh. After the carnivores tear the flesh with their canine, they use these canasials to what? To grind it before they take it to the molar to further be grinded. Now comparing the 3 teeth in both carnivores, herbivores, and omnivore. All right. So for carnivore, like we explained, long what? Long canine, and big premolar, which is called the canasials. Okay, while for the herbivore, they have what is called the diastema. That space that you have canine there, at the top you have no canine there. Okay, you have space there, a very huge space there, is called diastema. No teeth there. All right, so they don't have an upper incisors. They have like 3 incisors on the lower part, but nothing at top. And they have what? Flat, big flat molars for grinding plant products. Okay, like leaves and so on and so forth. Now let's look at the omnivore, which is man. Man has the complete set of teeth: incisors, canine, premolar, and molar, because they feed both on plants and animals. You can see how the herbivore teeth adapts to its food. Okay, its food is herbs. Okay, leaf. Okay, leaf doesn't need tearing. Okay, you just use this one incisor that has to tear the leaf. They uses this to grind it. Leaf needs grinding before swallowing. All right, and they also use it for what is called cord chewing. All right, to regrind those leaves that is swallowed hurriedly, because herbivores swallow, they eat very fast. So they don't grind the food properly. Okay, it is later when the food has digested to some extent, they start regurgitating the food. It's like vomiting the food out back, and they start chewing this food. Okay, these plants are base food, chewing it like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. That's how they chew it, to grind it properly to aid in digestion. You know that cellulose requires a lot to be digested. That's why in human body, humans are not able to digest cellulose. Okay, which are like cellulose now, for example, but the one you have in fiber. Our body don't digest fiber. That's why when you take in fiber to help you soften your stool, to increase bowel movements, intestinal movements, to prevent constipation, those roughages, they don't digest in your system. You shit that roughage out. Okay, it is excreted from your body because we can't digest, cellulose. Now let's look at the mammalian alimentary canal. I have to be very, very fast. All right, ensure you are writing, ensure you are making your notes. The mammalian alimentary canal and the nutritional process involved in the alimentary canal. The alimentary canal is the digestive system of mammals. Okay, and the organs found include the mouth, which is used for what? Ingestion. Food is put into the digestive system through the mouth. That is ingestion. And digestion starts from the mouth. That's what many textbooks will tell you. But the major digestion, the main digestion, the cocoa digestion starts from the stomach. Some textbook will tell you digestion starts from the mouth. So we tell you that it starts from the stomach. All right. So I remember my nutrition teacher that year when I was still in the university. He taught me that digestion starts from the stomach. Okay, everybody that picked digestion starts from the mouth. He failed them. After the mouth, for ingestion, you have the esophagus and the stomach. Your esophagus propels the food into the stomach. Esophagus is like a pipe that takes the food into the stomach. Okay, then the stomach digests food. Digestion occurs. So according to this sequence we have here, you hope you now understood that digestion starts from the stomach and not the mouth. Because for the mouth, waiting they put now ingestion. For stomach, we have digestion here. So that what it means is that digestion starts from the stomach, not the mouth. Ingestion is in the mouth. All right. So then you have, it goes to the small intestine for absorption, and absorption is carried out through what? Villus. Okay, villus. Okay, absorption is carried out through villus from the latile of the villus into the capillaries. All right, that's how the nutrient enters the bloodstream. All right, from the permeable latile of the villus it has some permeable epidermis in the villus. It enters the lati, then from the lati, it travels into the capillaries. All right. Then you have the large intestine. This is where what the large intestine helps to absorb water to make the stool harden to some extent. It is through that mechanism of absorbing water so that the body will not lose too much water. That's why when you purge, when you have diarrhea, you lose a lot of water. If care is not taken, you die. Okay, you die from dehydration. So it happens so fast. So that is the function of the large intestine. Diarrhea shows that, or water sheet, purging of belly, when your belly purge you, it shows that there is a problem there. Your intestine is not moving too fast. Your colon, your large intestine is not able to absorb the water in the chyle. Okay, in the chyle, it can't absorb the water anymore. So it moves too fast. It doesn't allow enough time for absorption. That's why you excrete a lot of water during diarrhea. So mainly water absorption. Water absorption. So absorption of nutrients occurs in the small intestine, but absorption of water occurs in the large intestine. Then in the rectum is where ejection occurs. That's where these food substances are removed, removed from the digestive canal. Let's look at the accessory organs. Okay, in the digestive system, you have the major organ. In every system, in fact, you have the major organ. The major organ are the organ that runs through the line of the system. It runs straight in the line of the system. All right. Then you now have what is called accessory organs. That one where you define beside the system, where they do one or two contribution to the digestion. They are called accessory organ. It's just like your phone, okay, and you have a pouch in your phone. Not be phone accessory that they call them. Your phone, you have earpiece or earpod for your phone. Is it not accessory? It aids in one or two processes in your phone. Okay, that's why I call accessory. So accessory organs are not directly part of the system, but they contribute to the system. That's why they are called accessory organs. All right. So example is the liver, which what produces bile, and the bile is stored where? In the gallbladder. All right. So the liver produces bile, and the bile is stored where? In the gallbladder. You have the pancreas produces pancreatic enzyme, which is called the pancreatic enzyme that contains 3 enzymes. One is what? Amylopsin. The second is what? Trypsin. The third is what? Lipase. Okay. Amylopsin digests carbohydrates. Trypsin digests protein. And the final one, lipase, digests what? Fats. All right. Fat or oil. All right. The third accessory organ we have there is the gallbladder. And gallbladder stores bile, just like I said in the past before. So now we have to look at the process of digestion. All right. What's the process of digestion? When you eat food, the food enters through your mouth. As it enters your mouth, it travels to your throat, down your esophagus. All right. When the food is in your mouth, depending on the food, if the food has starch in it or it has carbohydrate in it, your saliva contains enzyme that starts the digestion of fats and carbohydrates. There are 2. The first enzyme there is ptyalin. Okay, it starts the digestion of carbohydrates. Okay. Then the second enzyme there is lingual lipase. Okay. Lingual lipase. It starts the digestion of fats and oil in the mouth. So it mixes with those enzymes. Your saliva helps, helps digest the food to some extent. You miss when you are showing mastication. Then as soon as you chew, immediately you start swallowing the food. The food is rolled into a ball-like structure called bolus. Okay, that bolus travels down your throat into where? It travels down your throat, and your throat is called what? The pharynx. Into where? Into your esophagus. Okay. And with the help of the contraction and relaxation of the esophageal muscle, the esophageal sphincter, like this, the bolus what descends and enter the stomach. As soon as it enters the stomach, what happens there? Digestion starts. That's where the cocoa digestion starts. Enzyme in the stomach. First of all, the stomach is going to release hydrochloric acid that helps kills bacteria in the food. Okay, kills microorganisms. So after hydrochloric acid is released onto the food, pepsin is what? Released. Okay, and pepsin helps to what? To digest, to start the digestion of what? Protein. Okay, the stomach releases pepsin to start the digestion of what? Protein. And this bolus mixes with water and it turns to what? Chyme. And this chyme descends into the first part of the small intestine, which is called the duodenum. Okay, and in that duodenum, that is where the pancreas now sense that we have something to digest to. The pancreas releases its pancreatic enzyme. Okay, its pancreatic enzyme is rich in water and thiazocarbonate. The pancreatic enzyme contains water, bicarbonate, and the pancreatic what? Juice. Okay, the pancreatic juice, that is where you have the pancreatic enzymes. Okay, which includes the amylopsin. Okay, which digest carbohydrates. Then you have the trypsin, which digests the protein. Then you have the lipase. Okay, so the lipase digests fats. All right. So immediately this pancreatic juice is released into what you have in the duodenum. That's the first portion of the small intestine. It digests all you have there. So carbohydrate is digested from polysaccharide to what? Disaccharide. Okay. Then protein is digested from what? Peptide to what? Polypeptide. Then lipid or fat and oil is digested into what? Glycerol. Okay. By lipase. So before lipase digests the fat, the gallbladder contracts and releases bile. Okay, to the fat that's in the bolus. Okay, it does what does this bile does? Okay, this bile contains renin. Okay, and this renin helps to what? To reduce the surface area of the fat. Okay, reduce surface area by it makes the fat thin. It thins the fat out. Okay, it thins it out and enabling it to quickly digest so that lipase can easily act on it. Okay, so this food substance now in the duodenum, in the small intestine, now enters the what? The jejunum, the second part of the small intestine. As it enters there, it is now called chyme. Okay, chyme continues to move, and as it moves, at the last portion of the small intestine, which is called the ileum, that's where all the content of the chyme is not digested into their final product, okay, by enzyme. Okay, all the secondary carbohydrates you have there, such as maltose, lactose, and sucrose, is now converted to primary carbohydrates, such as glucose, fructose, or galactose. All right, maltase is converted to glucose by what? By maltase. Sucrose is converted to glucose by what? By sucrase. Lactose is converted to glucose by what? By lactase. So all the polypeptide form is converted by the enzyme called epipsin into amino acid. So that is the final what? The final product of the digestion of protein, amino acid. The final for carbohydrate is what? Glucose. All right, and I told you how they all get converted in the ileum. All right, then for the fat and oil, all the fats and oil in the chyme is finally converted into fatty acid and glycerol. So the remaining chyme you have now has water in it. Absorption starts in the the ileum, and through the villus, the finger-like projection, they are absorbed and they are sent to the bloodstream through the capillary. And this nutrient is sent to the liver through the hepatic portal vein. It is the liver that now starts distributing these nutrients in the body. All right. Then the remaining portion of the chyme now travels down into the what? Cecum, and enters the what? The ascending colon, or the large intestine, where water is absorbed from it. Okay, and stool is formed, or shit is formed, and is excreted through the anus. All right. Now the enzyme we have here is amylase, that digests carbohydrates present in the pancreatic juice. We have protease here, digest protein, or trypsin, okay, also digest protein. It depends on what you see in your exam. Protease digest protein, or you can see trypsin there. You also have lipase here, that's what the pancreatic juice contains. Now, this is the digestive system, or the alimentary canal of mammal, okay? Okay, so you have the mouth here, you have the pharynx, which is the throat. The food enters the esophagus. This parotid gland you are seeing here is salivary gland, okay? That helps mix the food in the mouth, okay? It's salivary gland. Just forget this parotid gland here, it's salivary gland, okay? So into the esophagus, the bolus pass with the contraction of the sphincter there, the sphincter muscle, it moves down into the stomach. And for here, digestion starts here, pepsin is released on them, hydrochloric acid is also released on them, and it goes down here where the main digestion starts, where pancreatic juice is released. Bile is also released into them. Digestion continues. This is the pancreas, and absorption continues in the small intestine, and absorption continues enter the large intestine, where water is absorbed, then excreted to the exterior, out of the body. This is the appendix. This is the gallbladder. This is the duodenum, the first portion of the small intestine. Okay, this is the large intestine. This is the anus. The anus. Now let's look at one important thing: how enzyme function. Okay, how enzyme function. First of all, what are enzymes? Okay, enzymes are substances that helps to create a new substance in a biological medium. Okay, it's a substance that helps to create another substance in a biological medium. They are called the biological catalyst. Catalyst in a living system. Enzyme doesn't spoil, or you lost enzyme, say enzyme lost. No, after the reaction, the enzyme is recovered. That's why it's called a biological catalyst. Okay, a biological catalyst. Now let's look at the structure and the function of enzymes. Okay, what does enzyme look like, and how does it act? All right, so you know that digestion, in the catabolic process of digestion, it is enzymes that do the work. Okay, so in an enzyme, this is the enzyme. Here is the enzyme. Okay, and in the enzyme, you have various parts of the enzyme. The major parts that we are concentrating on here is the active site, is the site where the substance that is to be digested binds with the enzyme. Okay, so this substrate is the substance that is to be digested. Okay, for example, let's say we want to digest carbohydrates. This substrate is that carbohydrate. So it binds with the enzyme. This is the enzyme. It binds with the enzyme at this place called the active site. That is where it binds with the enzyme. Immediately this enzyme senses this carbohydrate that is to be digested. It designs its active site to fit in the design of the substrates, or that thing that we want to digest. That's why it is called the active site. Immediately it binds, the substrate enters the enzyme, and it binds. So after binding, it forms what is called, look at it here, it forms what is called the enzyme substrate complex. Okay, the enzyme substrate complex, that is just something that have both enzyme and the substrate in it. That is the enzyme substrate complex. All right, so the shape of the enzyme changes slightly when it forms this enzyme substrate complex. All right, then what happens afterwards? All right, the product is formed. As soon as the product is formed, let's say for example the substrate was carbohydrates. We want to digest carbohydrates. The enzyme amylopsin want to digest carbohydrates, or amylase want to digest carbohydrates. For example, this is the enzyme amylase. This substrate here is the what? Carbohydrate. Immediately it binds and form the enzyme substrate complex. It's going to what? Form another what? Complex called the enzyme product complex, because the product has formed. Then after it forms this enzyme product complex, what happens? The product leaves the enzyme. Okay, that product form now is now glucose. That glucose will now leave the enzyme and go and do whatever it wants to do, while the enzyme remains the same. The enzyme is recovered. All right, the product leaves the active sites, the enzyme is recovered, the enzyme go and digest another one again. That's it. As easy as that, Shikina. Biological catalyst, that's what enzymes are. Yeah? As simple as that. Easy. I just taught you how enzyme function. Okay, so heat can denature enzyme. That's why enzymes have the particular temperature that they work in. All right, so for your assignment, just go to your AI, just take a screenshot of this, go and paste it in your AI or paste in Google, or I don't know where you want to paste it, or what you are going to do, just take a screenshot of this, go to Google, enter that lens. When you go to Google lens, then you copy it, you copy all the the words on this. When you copy all the words, you go and paste it on your AI and do this assignment. Look at this thing, know all this thing. The first one is indicate sources / nutritional value of food classes. Nutritional value of all the common food classes, and you have to know their sources. Carbohydrate, what is the source? Protein, what's the source? The second here is important / deficiency. Okay, deficiency of this food substances or these classes of food, their deficiency. What happens? For example, scurvy is from the lack of vitamin C, ricket is from the lack of vitamin D, kwashiorkor is from the lack of protein deficiency, and so on and so forth. So protein deficiency, kwashiorkor. There's another one called marasmus. So get familiar, just try. Okay, for your own good. This thing is inside Jamb syllabus. All right. So what is balanced diet? You should be able to understand what balanced diet is. Balanced diet is not what you know, what they taught you in primary school. No be that one be balanced diet. Oh. Learn balanced diet. What the meaning of balanced diet? What the meaning of balanced diet is. I don't talk. All right, do your assignment. Now that we have understood digestion and nutrition in both plants and animals, different organisms, let's take some Jamb must repeat questions to further test the knowledge we've acquired so far. Jamb must repeat questions. Question 154. Which of the following is the primary function of the root hairs in a flowering plant? A. Photosynthesis. B. Absorption of water and minerals. C. Support and rigidity. D. Transpiration. What's the answer? You know book. Drop the answer in the comment section. Question 155. In the transverse section of a dicot stem, the vascular bundle are arranged in what? In what sequence? A. Ring. B. Scattered. C. Star shape. D. Single bundle. What's the answer? You know book. Drop the answer in the comment section. Question 156. Which supporting tissue in plant provides flexibility, support, and is found in young stem? A. Sclerenchyma. B. Cholenchyma. C. Xylem fiber. D. Flowing fibers. What's the answer? Drop the answer in the comment section. Question 157. The palisade mesophyll in a leaf is primarily adapted for what? A. Gaseous exchange. B. Photosynthesis. C. Transpiration. D. Support. What's the answer? You know book. Drop the answer in the comment section. Question 158. Which mode of nutrition involves organisms making their own food using light energy? A. Heterotrophic. B. Autotrophic. C. Saprophytic. D. Parasitic. What's the answer? Drop the answer in the comment section. Question 159. An example of a parasitic plant is what? A. Maize. B. Loranthus. C. Rhizopus. D. Sundew. What's the answer? Drop the answer in the comment section. Question 160. In photosynthesis, the light reaction occurs in A. Stroma. B. Thylakoid. C. Cytoplasm. D. Mitochondria. What's the answer? Drop the answer in the comment section. Question 161. You know book. Deficiency of which element causes yellowing of the leaves in plants? A. Phosphorus. B. Potassium. C. Nitrogen. D. Iron. You know book. What's the answer? If you know about macronutrients, this question here is my. This question here is my. Question 162. Which class of food substance is tested using Benedict solution? A. Starch. B. Reducing sugars. C. Proteins. D. Fat. What's the answer? Drop the answer in the comment section. The dental formula for a dog is A. Blah 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 blah. B. Blah 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 blah. C. Blah 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 blah. D. Blah 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 blah. What's the answer? You sabi book? Drop the answer in the comment section. Question 164. Which organ in the mammalian alimentary canal is responsible for absorption of digested food? A. Stomach. B. Small intestine. C. Large intestine. D. Rectum. What's the answer? Drop the answer in the comment section. You sabi book. Question 165. Kwashiorkor is a deficiency disease caused by lack of what? A. Carbohydrate. B. Proteins. C. Vitamins. D. Minerals. What's the answer? Drop the answer in the comment section. Many of you that are watching my videos, that are seeing me, are going to take Jamb again in 2027. Why not allow me force you to pass Jamb? This is not the time to start reading textbooks, so no time again. If you have not been preparing aggressively for your Jamb UTME, this is not the time to start doing budu. I have to study, I have to sabi, I have to know book, I have to study. Look for shortcuts. That's what you need now. Jamb is going to commence within 8 weeks from now. 8 weeks from now, is that not 2 months? That's too small now. If they give you full chemistry about your textbook, can you complete it in 2 months? You can't. You can't, except you don't want to retain the knowledge. So I have plans for you. I have a plan that has worked for almost 5 years now. UTME candidate, I'll be using it. Now, 9-minute plan you want, any plan at all, I have it. I also have simplified and short lecture notes for all the topics in Jamb syllabus, available in physics, chemistry, and biology. Now then, be all this one very short. All the full syllabus, I compressed everything to 350 slides, leaving no stone unturned. So you have everything inside. Everything that Jamb wants you to know is inside. So why go and repeat this Jamb UTME in 2027? Why stay at home and continue doing home chores? Your mate will enter university. Why not get this plan? DM me, send me a DM. My phone number is in my bio. You are going to see my phone number there. Send me a DM to get this plan and also to access my library that contains the simplified and short lecture notes of all the topics you have in Jamb syllabus. Jamb 2026 candidate. Peace out.